Okay, so then part two of the explanation here is the how do we go about this? What are the steps to accomplishing the tasks that I laid out in the first video? And so I don't know a better way to do this. When I was a clinical director, I had to form those collaboration agreements that I was describing. And so I got real comfortable with making cold calls to various agencies, practices, associations, nonprofit organizations, things of that sort, and just saying, hey, I'm Steve Kuniak, and this is where I work, and this is what I'm doing, and this is what I hope to achieve. Who do I talk to about that? And then having a conversation about what it is that we were trying to do, and having those meetings and getting those agreements signed. So I don't know a better way to do it. So what I've started to do is I have created a Google Doc that has a list of every agency, association, I'm going to just refer to them as agencies or companies from here on out, but every entity that I could come up with in the healthcare field, then grad programs, and then actually I've included undergrad programs, and I'll explain that as well. But what I'm hoping is, and I have those sorted into Eastern, Central, and Western Pennsylvania, and some that cross regions as well. And so we're going to kind of initially break you all up into where you live in those regions and have you add to these lists and utilize those lists as a means of contacting people. But then we may have more people in one area than another, so you can call anybody who's still on the list as well. But I want you to look at those lists and know that that's not comprehensive. It's just everything that I know of and my wife knows of. And where I'm able to, I filled out contact people and phone numbers and email addresses and things like that as well. But again, I don't know everybody. So look at that list, add to it. Being in a Google Doc, you'll all be editors, so you can all add and make notes and identify who you've contacted. And we want to try to build this list out. So even where I do have a name of an entity, cold calling and getting an administrative assistant or something like that, or a clinician or anything, and saying, who do I call? Who should I talk to? When we identify a person that can really make the decision of whether or not they want to be a sponsor or a vendor or both, we want to list their name, their title, their email address, their phone number, so we can continue to build upon this list year after year and streamline this process. And again, in the Google Doc, you can just add to that. I also have a section for notes at the top, so that if you do sell one of our bigger sponsorship opportunities, those are limited, and so we want to know if someone has picked up that opportunity or not, so that we don't continue to sell it for this year. But so that's kind of how I envision this, and there's no better way to do it than to just dig in and start making the calls. So when you have some time, half an hour that you can make a couple calls and figure out who these people are, this would be the best way to approach it. So yeah, I additionally included grad programs as well, because we do want to make sure that we have our grad programs represented. They've been our best vendors and exhibitors in the past. They may be interested in becoming sponsors of various tiers. Additionally, I listed undergrad programs. It's something that we're trying to sort out. So I want to try to build this list, because we do have a mechanism for having undergrads attend our conference, but we never have undergrads attending the conference, to my knowledge, or in a very limited capacity at least. You figure if we want to add value to the conference for the average counselor out there, and so we add all of these social service organizations, associations, nonprofits, practices, etc., for all of those various reasons that I described before, then we will also want to add value to our grad programs. And the best way to do that is to get potential students to come to the conference. And I think those are undergrads who haven't already decided to go to one of our schools. Additionally, this provides an opportunity for us to build in some programming into conferences that teach undergrad students about the field of counseling. We lose plenty of students who really don't know what the difference between a counselor, a social worker, an MFT, et cetera, are. We lose all of these students who are in undergrad psych programs, family services programs, human services programs, various different bachelor's level and associate's level titles of these programs. We lose them to the other majors out there because we don't have them knowing who we are, and I think the conference is a really good opportunity for that. So I'd like to build that list of undergrad institutions. We may want to solicit them differently, but at least if you know in your regions, I've provided them on the Google Doc, so we can start to build that list too and kind of decide how we want to approach this. If you look at your sponsorship application form, let's see if my screen can bring this up, you'll see that I have these tiered lists. And again, these are the big opportunities for people to pay us for sponsorship for. And then I have some a la carte options down here. These first three are very limited space. We have 1, 2, and 4 opportunities here. And so, again, it's important that when we sell that it get noted somehow quickly to us so that we don't keep selling that for this year. If we do, and there is some overlap, we'll try to figure out who the first one was, give them preference, and then if not, move them down a tier to another opportunity if it comes up. And then I want to indicate that too on that form we have, if there are questions from people that you can't answer about vendor spaces and things of that sort, I'm the contact person for those questions, and I may not have the answers yet either, but I'll be the go-to for that and try to sort it out. If there are questions related to the finances and how people want to pay us, initially we're trying to get people to pay by check and send that to Derek's P.O. box as treasurer. But if they need to pay by card, and there are a lot of people who want to pay by card, I know, we're going to have to invoice them right now. We might have a mechanism to do this a little bit more efficiently in the weeks and months to come, but right now you want to note all of their information and then ship them over to Derek for an invoice. And yeah, so that's where we're at. I think that kind of identifies it. So again, you're going to all get access to that Google Doc, and we're going to build this list together, and then everyone in each of those regions is going to call people and try to sell them on these sponsorship opportunities and vendor and exhibitor spaces. If they aren't interested in being solicited now or in the future, we want to note that too. We want to try to respect people, who don't want to be contacted. But if they want to be one of our sponsors and maybe one of the opportunities that they want is sold, we should note that for the future, because these opportunities will come up year after year. There might also be opportunities that we haven't considered that we could add that somebody could have too. So if there's something that you come up with, or we note that there are a lot of people who want these kind of one-time only sponsorship opportunities, maybe we want to find what other sponsorship opportunities exist. I think that covers most of everything. If I've missed anything, as I said, that Google Doc is going to have an opportunity for notes in it, so you can ask questions there. We can answer these all together. This can be a very collaborative process. And if you have questions that I haven't considered, maybe I can put out another video if we really want to address some stuff in the future as well. Again, I want to thank you for your time and for your willingness to help us on this initiative. I'm really excited to work with you all. I really can't thank you enough. I mean, this would be an insurmountable task for me or 1 or 2 other people to do. So having multiple people tackling this is really huge. Again, I'm Dr. Steve Kuniak, and I look forward to hearing your questions, interacting with you, and working with you over the course of the summer and into the fall. And I hope that we can make this initiative really impactful and really beneficial for PCA in advancing our career, our field.